Okay, this is going to be chapter 6, lesson 8. And we're working now on negative exponents. What do we get when we have a negative exponent? Negative exponent. Okay, so we have the definition of a zero exponent for any number a that is not equal to 0. So the number just cannot be 0. Okay? The number to the power of 0 will always be 1. All right? The number to the power of 0 will always be 1. So the definition then of a negative exponent is for any integer n and any number a that is equal to 0, a to the power of negative n will always be equal 1 over a to the power of n. I know this doesn't make any sense to you right now. I'm just going to write an example for you. So a can't be 0, so let's say a is 5. And 5 is raised to the power 0. 5 to the power 0 is 1. Let's say a is 10. And it's raised to the power 0. 10 to the power 0 is 1. Okay? And that's because 5 to the power 0 means 5 divided by 5. And that's 1. 10 to the power of 0 means 10 divided by 10. And that's 1. Okay? So when we do exponents, we're multiplying or dividing, and I'll go over this more with you tomorrow in class, so don't worry about it right now. I just want you to understand the steps in simplifying these. Okay? So let's give a number. A is, let's go with 5 again. 5 to the power of negative, a negative exponent, 2, let's say. The answer is going to be 1 over 5 to the power of 2. Okay? All right, now let's look at this in greater detail. You didn't have to write any of this down. Notice that I didn't highlight any of it, okay? Example 1. Now you're going to write this, all right? Example 1, let's see if I can get this, yeah. Simplifying numerical expressions. Again, we're just simplifying. When you simplify something, it means it's equal, and we're just simplifying it, all right? So, to write 2 to the power of negative 4, we write 1 over 2 to the power of 4. Okay? And then we multiply the 2 that many times, and we're supposed to multiply 2 4 times. So this is 1 over 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So we get 1 over 16. Two-thirds to the power of negative 3. Again, 1 over 2/3 to the power of 3. What does this mean? 1 divided by 2/3. So that's what I have here. 1 divided by 2/3. Sorry, let me put that back. Okay. 1 divided by 2/3. And remember, what does that mean when we use division with fractions? We need to multiply the reciprocal. So we're going to change this from 1 divided by 2/3 to 1 times. The reciprocal of 2/3 is 3 over 2. So we're changing it to 1 times 3 over 2. What do I get when I multiply 1 times 3 over 2? 1 times 3 is 3. And if you were to put a 1 under this, right? 1 times 2 is 2. So I'm going to get 3 over 2. This is 3 over 2, right? So 3 over 2 over here. 3 over 2 to the power of 3. We put our exponent back on there now. Okay? You could have had it here too if you want. Okay? You could have had it here too if you want. And so then we're going to have it here too. We're keeping the exponent. So what does this mean now? 3 over 2 to the power of 3 means that I am dividing 3 over 2. I'm multiplying, 3 times. 3 over 2 times 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. And what does that equal? 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 27 over 8. And that's your answer. You don't have to write it as a mixed number, or you can. 1 over 5 to the power of 0. Any number to the power of 0 is 1. Example 2. Simplify variable expressions. So now with a variable instead of a number, I have x to the power of -1. Oh my goodness. Sorry guys. X to the power of -1 means 1 over x to the power of 1. 1 over, well, x to the power of 1, that's the same as x. If I have 1x, that's just x. So 1 over x is the answer. How about -4 times n to the power of 0? Well, n to the power of 0 is 1. So it's -4 times n to the power of 0 is 1. -4 times 1. So -4 times 1 is -4. So there's your answer. 3 times b to the power of -2. So that means 3 times b to the power of -2 changes to 1 over b to the power of 2. To multiply fractions, and it's here also, just so you guys can see, it's the same thing here. Okay? To multiply fractions, we just put a 1 under the 3 and multiply straight across. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 1 times b squared is b squared. So the answer is 3 over b squared. Example 3, writing fractions using negative exponents. So now we're going the other way. We're reversing it now. Okay? So I have -1 over 16 here. -1 over 16. Let's change 16 to a base and an exponent. So to do that, I'm going to take 16, let's write over here. I'm going to make a factor tree. 4 times 4. That can be factored further, 2 times 2. That can be factored further, 2 times 2. How many 2's do I have? 4 of them. So this can be written as 2 to the power of 4. So 2 to the power of 4 here. -1 over 2 to the power of 4. So now I write this the same way that I wrote the other one. It becomes -2, because we have a negative here, so -2, the base is going to be 2 now, and I know this 4 is going to become negative because it's a fraction. So we're just taking this fraction and rewriting it as, there we go, so we're taking this fraction here, okay, and we're rewriting it as a base with an exponent, but the exponent's going to be negative. Here. Okay? Those numbers are equal. The value of them is equal. So 2 over x to the power of 3. This means 2 times 1 over x to the power of 3. 2 times 1 over x to the power of 3 becomes x to the power of -3. 2 times x to the power of -3 is 2x -3. Seven to the power of -2 is 1 over 7 to the power of 2. which is 1 over 7 times 7, multiply 2 times, which is 1 over 49. 7 times 7 is 49. So this time we're actually multiplying out the exponents, okay? Or the base, I should say, using exponent rules. So negative 1 over 4 to the power of 3 is negative 1 over 4 times 4 times 4. Negative 1 over 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. Negative 1 over 64. Number 3, 1 over 2 to the power of negative 5. And I like to just keep writing it the same way. 1 over 1 over 2. Okay? To the power of 5. All right. So now what happens here? This means 1 divided by 1/2 to the power of 5. I'm going to rewrite it. 1 divided by 1/2 to the power of 5. How do I divide fractions? I write a whole number as a fraction. I rewrite division as multiplication. I write the next fraction as the reciprocal. And the exponent, we don't do anything with it. We leave it the same. I'm taking this one number at a time. To multiply fractions, we just multiply straight across. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. And all of that is being raised to the power of 5. 2 over 1 is the same as the number 2 to the power of 5. Now, this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 times 2 is 32. So 1 over 2 to the power of negative 5 has a value of 32. Oh, easy one, always going to be 1. Any number raised to the power of 0 is always going to be 1. Doesn't matter what number it is. 1 over x to the power of 2 means 1 over x times x. Well, we don't know what x is, so it's still 1 over x squared. 1 over x squared. That's not going to change. Okay? Since we don't have a value for x, we really can't multiply it out. So we have to just leave it like that. And that's as simplified as it gets. 3 times 1 over a to the power of 3. How do I multiply fractions? Make a whole number into a fraction. Then multiply by the next fraction straight across. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times a to the power of 3 is 1a to the power of 3, or just a to the power of 3. You're done. Okay? Rewrite this fraction now using a prime base raised to a power. So, let's draw a factor tree for 9. 3 times 3. Okay, so I can see for 9 it's 3 squared. So, this is 1 over 3 squared. And now how do I change this to a base raised to a power? The base is 3. Since this is a fraction, the power is negative. And it's negative 2. Anytime it's a fraction, it's going to be raised to a negative power. Okay? 1 over 36. Let's draw a factor tree for 36. 6 times 6. 3 times 2. And again 3 times 2. So we have 2 squared times 3 squared. Right? Okay. So, 2 squared times 3 squared. Okay? So I have 1 over 2 to the power of negative 2. 2 to the power of 2, sorry. My mistake, I didn't mean to make it negative already. I apologize, I skipped a step. 2 to the power of negative 2. 2, sorry, times 1 over 3 to the power of 2. Okay? Well, 1 over 2 to the power of 2 is the same as 2 raised to the power of negative 2. And 1 over 3 to the power of negative 2 is the same as 3 raised to the power of negative 2. I can't simplify this anymore. Remember we talked about how to multiply bases with exponents. We add the exponents, but only if the bases are the same. These bases are not the same. This base is 2, this base is 3. So I can't simplify this anymore because they're not the same base. So that's your answer stays just like that. And that's it for today. You guys have a nice evening, and I'll see you, or weekend. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Tuesday.